Did 3IATLs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep. The discovery of 3IATLs began in quiet, as so many cosmic revelations do. Not with alarms or urgency, but with a faint pixel of light captured by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile on July 1st. 2025, a point indistinguishable from countless others until calculations revealed its path. A hyperbolic trajectory that marked it as an interstellar traveler, unbound by the sun, destined to sweep through once and vanish forever. The third such object ever observed by humanity after One Eye, Amma in 2017, and Two Eye Borisov in 2019. And with its arrival came both wonder and unease. For while NASA assured us it posed no direct risk, imagination asked the forbidden question embedded in the title of tonight's reflection: did 3ITLAS just alter Earth's orbit? To answer this, we must first understand orbits themselves. Fragile loops of balance where gravity and velocity hold hands. The Earth pulled by the sun, even as it races sideways fast enough to miss falling in. And this balance is precise, so precise that even the faintest perturbations are measured. Accounted for, tracked over centuries. Could a wandering body from beyond, racing at 130 miles per second, reaching perihelion on October 29th, exert enough influence to nudge our planet, to shift the delicate harmony of seasons and years? The mathematics say no. At its closest, Atlas will be 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the distance between Earth and Mars at their closest approach, more than 50 times the distance to our moon. Gravity weakens with distance squared, and at such ranges its tug on Earth is negligible, less than the pull of our own moon, less than the shifting tides of our oceans. No, Atlas cannot alter our orbit in the catastrophic sense. But what of subtler scenarios? The gravitational web of the solar system is complex, each planet tugging on the others, each asteroid and comet adding faint ripples. Could the passage of an interstellar traveler leave behind not catastrophe but whispers? Small perturbations too slight for human senses, yet etched into the mathematics of celestial mechanics? Perhaps, but even here NASA's verdict is firm. The influence is indistinguishable from zero, and Earth spins on untroubled. Yet speculation begins where certainty ends, and the mind wonders about forces we cannot measure, technologies we cannot detect, intentions we cannot recognize. What if Atlas is not merely a comet but a craft? Its trajectory not random but deliberate, its hyperbolic arc a maneuver cloaked in natural mechanics? What if its chemistry dominated by carbon dioxide at a ratio of 81:1? An imbalance unlike any comet ever observed, is not legacy but message, a signature chosen to be noticed? And what if influence need not be gravitational at all? Could an intelligence so advanced alter not Earth's orbit through mass, but humanity's orbit through meaning? Through the quiet destabilization of certainty? Through the gentle tug on imagination that shifts our trajectory into new questions about life, about intelligence, about purpose? The worst case may not be that Earth's orbit is changed, but that our understanding is. That the fragile ellipse of our assumptions is nudged by anomalies into new curves of thought. For orbits are not only physical, they are also conceptual. Paths traced by human understanding around the mass of the unknown. And when an object like Atlas appears, strange in speed, strange in chemistry, strange in timing, it perturbs not the Earth, but the mind. Still, let us linger with gravity itself, for it is soothing to recall that celestial mechanics are sturdy, that Earth's orbit has endured for billions of years, stabilized by the mass of the sun, resilient against the passing of wanderers. The solar system has been visited by countless interstellar fragments before, unobserved, unnoticed, their tugs vanishing into insignificance, their paths forgotten. Earth's orbit remains steady, the year remains 365 days. The tilt remains 23 degrees. The balance remains. The mathematics are unshaken. And yet, as we drift towards sleep, we allow ourselves to wonder. What if the true alteration is not of orbit, but of perspective, not of trajectory, but of imagination, not of Earth, but of us? What if Atlas, like Almuwamba before it and Borisov in between, is part of a sequence, a cosmic story unfolding chapter by chapter? Each visitor stranger than the last, each arrival escalating the question of coincidence versus design. Tonight, Earth's orbit is safe, unaltered, unchanged. But perhaps our orbit around certainty has shifted. Perhaps our path through meaning has been perturbed. Perhaps the balance of what we believe possible has been nudged, ever so slightly by a faint dot of light from beyond dot. Did 3IA to LAS just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep when we left our reflection in the previous telling. We found ourselves poised between certainty and speculation, between the solid mathematics of celestial mechanics and the fragile threads of imagination. And tonight we travel deeper into that space, asking again what it would mean if a silent interstellar visitor like 3I Atlas could alter not only our understanding but our very orbit around the sun. And to answer, we must drift into the great architecture of orbital mechanics, into the quiet dance of gravity and velocity that holds Earth steady in its cosmic path. For our orbit is not an accident, but the outcome of a delicate balance. The sun's gravity pulling us inward, while our planet's sideways velocity carries us forward. A perpetual fall that curves into a circle, a geometry so precise that it has endured for billions of years, shaping seasons, stabilizing climates, allowing life to flourish. And if something were to alter this path even slightly, the consequences would ripple through every corner of existence, changing tides, changing winters and summers, changing the length of the year itself. And so we ask, could a passing comet, even one as extraordinary as Atlas, carry the power to nudge this ancient balance? The answer from science remains clear. No, not in the ways we fear. For gravity weakens with distance squared, and at its closest approach of 270 million kilometers, Atlas exerts less pull on Earth than our own moon does every day. Less even than the invisible sway of Jupiter far across the solar system, and so the equations reassure us. Earth's orbit remains safe, steady, untouched. Yet the human mind is restless, never content with simple answers. And so we imagine what lies beyond the equations, what forces might exist beyond our capacity to measure, what technologies might cloak themselves in trajectories that mimic the natural, what civilizations might weave intention into the appearance of chance. For history tells us that celestial bodies have long been mistaken for omens, comets once feared as harbingers of disaster, their sudden appearances blamed for plagues, wars, and the deaths of kings. And though we now know that their paths are governed by physics alone, a deeper truth remains. The appearance of a wanderer always alters human orbit, not of Earth around the sun, but of thought around possibility. Each visitor reshaping the way we imagine the cosmos. And so Atlas, with its astonishing speed of 130 miles per second, its chemistry dominated by carbon dioxide in ratios no comet has ever shown, becomes not a threat to our physical path, but to our certainty. For if it is truly natural, then nature is more diverse than we realized. And if it is not, then we stand at the threshold of revelation. In the mechanics of orbits, we find comfort, for Earth's path is stabilized not only by the sun, but by the great planets. With Jupiter's immense gravity shepherding comets away, with the moon studying our tilt, with resonances woven across the solar system that create stability across eons. And in this balance, Earth remains safe, yet when Atlas approaches, we are reminded that our system is open, porous, visited by fragments of other worlds. relics of stars beyond, and that our orbit, though unchanged in numbers, is never isolated in meaning. Some speculate that advanced civilizations, if they exist, might use gravity as a tool, steering objects across systems, disguising probes as comets, embedding messages in chemical fingerprints, for gravity is the universal language. And a comet passing near a planet is always noticed, always studied, always questioned, making such encounters perfect vessels for communication, not in words, but in whispers of trajectory and composition. Imagine then that Atlas is not random but chosen, its hyperbolic arc a maneuver disguised as chance, its chemistry an encoded signature, its silence intentional. Would this alter Earth's orbit? Not the ellipse of stone and sea, but the orbit of human thought. Yes, shifting us from certainty toward wonder, from isolation toward connection, from assumption toward humility. For when we ask if Atlas has changed Earth's orbit, perhaps the answer is both no and yes. No in the language of mathematics. For the Earth continues around the sun as it always has, yes in the language of meaning. For we cannot see Atlas without our imagination shifting, our trajectory of thought bending toward questions of life, intelligence, and purpose in the universe. And so we drift deeper into the speculative shadows where science meets philosophy, into the realm of what if. What if the galaxy is filled with such wanderers, probes disguised as debris, each one carrying not destruction but observation, part of a quiet census of civilizations? What if Atlas, older than Earth itself, born in the thick disk of the galaxy billions of years ago, carries within it not only chemistry but intention, not only molecules but meaning? A fragment launched when the Milky Way was young, designed to survive the ages, designed to arrive precisely when another intelligence had the tools to notice. What if Earth's orbit has been unaltered physically but altered conceptually, shifted by awareness, nudged by possibility, bent not by gravity but by wonder? The mathematics assure us that our orbit remains untouched. But perhaps orbits are more than numbers. Perhaps they are also metaphors, paths traced by thought around the massive mystery. And in this sense, Atlas alters us profoundly. For even as it passes harmlessly, even as it vanishes into interstellar dark, it leaves behind a trail of questions. And questions are the gravity of imagination, pulling us into new orbits of meaning. And so, as you rest tonight, let the certainty soothe you. Earth's path remains steady, safe, unchanged. But let the speculation accompany you as well. Perhaps Atlas has changed us. Perhaps it has altered not our planet, but our perception. Perhaps it has nudged the orbit of our minds into new curves. And in that quiet shift lies the true silent threat. Not to our bodies, but to our assumptions. Not to our planet, but to our certainty. A reminder that the universe is stranger, older, and more alive than we ever dared to believe. Did 3i ATLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for Sleep, to ask whether 3i Atlas has changed the orbit of our planet, is to ask more than a question of mechanics. It is to touch a place deep within the human story where observation, imagination, and fear intertwine. For though astronomers assure us with firm voices that the Earth continues its path unshaken, unchanged, untouched, we must admit that the question itself is not new. For across centuries, humanity has looked upward and wondered whether the sudden appearance of a stranger in the sky meant that our world would falter from its course. And again, tonight, we find ourselves walking that line between certainty and speculation, between calculation and meaning, wondering if our cosmic orbit has been perturbed. The mathematics speak clearly. Earth's orbit is defined by the vast pull of the sun, a gravitational bond so immense that no single comet, no matter how fast or ancient, passing at distances of hundreds of millions of kilometers, can dislodge us from it, And when we compute the figures, the influence of 3ITTLS is less than a whisper, less than the tug of our own moon, less than the faint nudges of Jupiter's steady hand across the solar system. And yet numbers alone cannot soothe the imagination, for our species has long feared that the heavens could unbalance the earth, that omens written in light might signal shifts in destiny. In ancient times, comets were seen as harbingers, blazing messengers that foretold plague, famine, or war. Their sudden arrival in otherwise predictable skies unsettling the certainty of cycles. For while stars and planets traced paths known to shepherds and priests, the comet appeared unannounced, and its strange tail seemed like a sword drawn across the firmament. The fear was not entirely unreasonable, for in truth comets can strike, they can reshape worlds, they can end dynasties not by omen but by impact, as fragments did to Earth in ages past, ending the reign of the dinosaurs, altering climate, reshaping life's trajectory. And so when 3IATLAs appeared, some instinct deep within us remembered, and the question rose again, could this visitor alter the orbit of our world? Modern science reassures us that no such catastrophe waits. Yet imagination lingers, and we begin to wonder whether alteration might come in subtler forms. For Earth's orbit is not only a path through space, it is also a metaphor for stability, for continuity, for the rhythm of seasons. And when a fragment from another star system sweeps close, we are reminded that stability is never absolute, that our solar system is not sealed, that we live in an open architecture where wanderers may pass at any time, unknown, uninvited. If a TLAS cannot change our orbit physically, might it alter it conceptually, altering the way we think about stability, the way we think about isolation, the way we think about our place in the galaxy? Each interstellar visitor does this in its own way. Oumuamua altered our mental orbit by forcing us to consider the possibility of technology disguised as stone. Borisov altered our mental orbit by reminding us that some wanderers behave exactly as science predicts. And Atlas now alters our mental orbit again, by carrying with it anomalies so striking its speed, its chemistry, its ancient origins that it stretches our imagination toward the edges of what we think possible. And so perhaps Earth's orbit has indeed been altered, not in physics, but in philosophy, not in numbers, but in meaning. Still, let us linger with mechanics, for it is soothing to recall how deeply stable our planet's path truly is. Earth is held by the sun's gravity in a bond that has endured 4.5 billion years. And alongside this grip are resonances that weave stability through the solar system, Jupiter's vast gravity protecting us from many comets, the moon stabilizing our tilt and seasons, even the faint drag of tides spreading across eons, all contributing to a balance that resists perturbation. Yes, a close flyby of a massive object could alter orbits, but Atlas is small, its nucleus perhaps a few kilometers across, its mass a fraction of Earth's moon, and its passage distant, its influence negligible. Earth continues around the sun unchanged. But speculation asks, what if the equations are not the whole story? What if influence need not be gravitational? What if civilizations older than ours learn to sculpt space not by mass, but by means we cannot yet measure? What if the true alteration is not of Earth's ellipse, but of human awareness, a tug not on orbit, but on imagination? In this sense, Atlas already has altered us, for we find ourselves again asking questions that stretch beyond certainty. Could such visitors be probes disguised as comets, passing silently, watching, measuring? Could their chemical signatures be messages, coded in ratios that stand out as anomalies? Could their timing be chosen, arriving when civilizations are ready to notice? If so, then Atlas has nudged us, not in our path through space, but in our orbit around certainty. pulling us toward humility, toward openness, toward wonder. And as you rest tonight, let the dual truths settle gently. Earth's orbit remains safe, unaltered, secure, while our mental orbit has already shifted, our thoughts curving toward new possibilities. For in the end, the question of whether 3I Atlas altered, Earth's orbit is answered both no and yes. No in the language of physics, yes in the language of meaning. No, our path around the sun remains unbroken, our season steady, our year intact. Yes, our path through imagination bends anew. For each interstellar visitor draws us into new questions. Each comet from beyond perturbs not our planet, but our perspective. And so the Earth spins on, steady and unchanged, yet humanity drifts into new orbits of wonder, nudged by a faint light from the stars. Did 3 TLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for Sleep, the story of Earth's orbit is the story of balance. A balance so delicate and yet so enduring that, for billions of years, our world has traced its path around the sun with the steadiness of a clock. Seasons returning, years unfolding, tides rising and falling under the pull of the moon. All of it bound within an elegant geometry first described by Kepler and Newton, later refined by Einstein. A geometry so precise that astronomers can predict eclipses centuries in advance and trace the movements of planets across millennia. Into this balance arrives 3I Atlas, a fragment from another star system discovered on July 1st, 2025 by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile. A speck of light whose path revealed a hyperbolic orbit, proof it is unbound. An interstellar traveler passing through once before vanishing forever, only the third such object ever recorded. After one I Alma in 2017 and two I Borisov in 2019, at first the question of danger arose. As it always does when the heavens reveal something new, could it strike Earth? Could it disturb the solar system? Could it alter the delicate ellipse of our planet's path? The answer from the perspective of physics is clear. At its closest, 3I Atlas will be 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the distance. Between Earth and Mars at their nearest, 50 times the distance from Earth to Moon, its gravitational influence is negligible. Less than the tug of Jupiter, less than the pull of our own satellite that stirs the tides each night. Earth's orbit remains unchanged. And yet the human mind does not rest in equations alone. For as long as people have looked upward, comets and wanderers have been seen not just as celestial bodies, but as omens, as signs that the stable cycle of seasons might be disrupted, that destiny itself might shift. In ancient China, court astronomers feared for their lives when comets appeared, for their interpretations could cost them their heads. In medieval Europe, comets were seen as fiery swords, heralds of plague or war. Even in the Enlightenment, when Newton's laws explained orbits with mathematics, the fear lingered. For we knew too well that impacts had scarred the moon, had ended the age of dinosaurs on Earth. To ask if 3I Atlas has altered Earth's orbit is to echo this deep memory, this ancient unease. The science says no, but the imagination whispers otherwise. For what if alteration does not come through gravity alone? What if influence is subtler, hidden in anomalies we struggle to explain? 3I Atlas travels at 130 miles per second, faster than any interstellar object we have seen before, with a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second. Nearly double Oumuamua's 26 and Borisov's 32. Its speed is a mystery. Was it flown violently from its birth system, or has it been accelerated by encounters across the galaxy? Or is there another explanation, one that we cannot yet measure? Its chemistry is stranger still. The James Webb Space Telescope on August 6th revealed a coma dominated by carbon dioxide, with a ratio of 81:1 compared to water vapor an imbalance never seen in cometary science. Natural theories abound formation near a carbon dioxide snowline, cosmic ray processing over eons, insulating dust mantles, but none are entirely satisfying. And so speculation arises, could such chemistry be a marker, a signal chosen to be noticed? If a civilization wished to send a message across the stars, perhaps it would not be in radio signals, but in anomalies, in ratios that stand out against nature's background. In this way, Atlas may not alter Earth's orbit in space, but may alter the orbit of our thought, bending us toward new questions. For an orbit is not only a physical path, it is also a metaphor for stability, for certainty, for the rhythm of life, and when anomalies appear, they perturb not the planet, but the mind. Imagine then that Atlas is a probe disguised as a comet, its trajectory chosen, its chemistry designed, its silence intentional. Would this not alter us? Would this not shift our orbit around certainty, nudging us toward humility, toward wonder, toward recognition that the universe may be alive with intelligence? And even if it is purely natural, it alters us still, for it expands the range of what comets can be. It forces us to revise our models of planetary formation. It shows us that the galaxy is stranger than we knew. In this sense, Atlas has already changed Earth's orbit, not the ellipse traced through space, but the orbit of our imagination, the path of our understanding. Earth continues around the sun unchanged, but humanity curves toward new questions. And so, as you drift into sleep, let the mathematics reassure you. The Earth's orbit is steady. Untouched, the seasons will return, the tides will rise, the years will flow. And let the speculation accompany you. Perhaps Atlas has altered us in ways we cannot yet measure. Not by gravity, but by meaning. Not by force, but by possibility. And perhaps the true silent threat is not destruction, but revelation. The realization that the universe is filled with wanderers, and that some of them may not be accidental at all. Did three-eyed TLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for Sleep, the appearance of three-eye Atlas, has stirred a question that drifts between science and imagination. Could a visitor from another star system change the course of our world? When we ask if Earth's orbit has been altered, we are asking more than whether numbers have shifted in the equations of celestial mechanics. We are asking whether the steady rhythm of our cosmic home has been touched by forces we do not yet understand. The science is clear. Earth's orbit is stable, held by the immense pull of the sun, guided by the resonances of planets and the steadying hand of the moon, and a comet or icy fragment. Even when racing at over 130 miles per second like a TLAS, cannot budge a planet at distances of hundreds of millions of kilometers. At its closest, a TLAS passes 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the separation of Earth and Mars at their closest, 50 times farther than the moon, and its gravitational influence is less than a whisper, less than the tug of tides that shape our seas each day. The equations reassure us. Earth's path around the sun continues as it always has. And yet, beneath certainty, imagination lingers. For history shows us that comets have always been received as omens, their sudden appearance disrupting the cycles of predictability. To ancient observers, the heavens were a map of order, planets and stars tracing paths they could learn and anticipate. But comets arrived without warning, bright, strange, with tails that stretched like swords across the sky. In cultures from China to Europe, they were feared as heralds of war, famine, or death. Even in the modern age, when Halley's Comet returned in 1910, some feared its cyanogen gases would poison Earth's atmosphere, despite reassurances from astronomers. And though science now tells us that comets are natural, we also know that they are dangerous in another way because collisions with them have reshaped worlds, scarred planets and moons, and long ago brought devastation to Earth itself. The impact that ended the reign of dinosaurs was a comet or asteroid, altering not only climate but the trajectory of life, shifting evolution in directions that gave rise to us. So when Atlas appeared, some ancient unease awoke again, and the question whispered, could this change our world's path? Scientists answer firmly that it cannot, but speculation flourishes where mystery lingers. For Atlas is strange in ways that provoke thought. Its speed is immense, faster than any interstellar object seen before. Its chemistry is unprecedented. The James Webb Space Telescope measured a coma where carbon dioxide overwhelms water vapor by a ratio of 81:1, something never before observed. Natural explanations are offered formation near a CO snow line, processing by cosmic rays over billions of years. Dust mantles sealing water away, but each theory struggles against the extremity of the numbers. Some suggest this imbalance could itself be a marker, a signature chosen to be seen, a message written in molecules. And if that were true, then perhaps alteration comes not in orbit but in meaning, not in gravity but in consciousness, for Atlas forces us to consider possibilities beyond the comfortable. What if such interstellar visitors are probes disguised as comets, their trajectories designed to look natural, their signatures coded to stand out when civilizations become capable of reading them? What if alteration comes in the form of awareness, a nudge to our orbit of certainty, bending us toward humility and wonder? Earth's orbit in space remains unaltered, but Earth's orbit in thought, in culture, and imagination may already have shifted. We are not alone in such shifts, for Oumuamua altered our mental orbit by forcing us to consider technology. Borisov altered it by reminding us of the normalcy of comets. And Atlas alters it again by straddling both realms. Natural yet anomalous, ordinary yet unsettling. And so, as you rest tonight, let the certainty comfort you. Earth's path around the sun is steady, unbroken, secure. But allow the speculation to accompany you into dreams. Perhaps Atlas has altered us in subtler ways. Perhaps it has changed not our orbit, but our perspective. Perhaps it has nudged us into a new path of thought, one that curves toward the possibility that the universe is filled with watchers and wanderers. That intelligence may speak not in broadcasts, but in silence. Not in ships, but in fragments of ice, not in words, but in ratios of chemistry. And perhaps the true silent threat is not that our orbit will change, but that our certainty already has. And in that quiet shift lies the beginning of revelation. Did 3I-ATLAS just alter Earth's orbit? Science for Sleep, the appearance of 3I Atlas, has stirred a question that drifts between science and imagination. Could a visitor from another star system change the course of our world? When we ask if Earth's orbit has been altered, we are asking more than whether numbers have shifted in the equations of celestial mechanics. We are asking whether the steady rhythm of our cosmic home has been touched by forces we do not yet understand. The science is clear. Earth's orbit is stable, held by the immense pull of the sun, guided by the resonances of planets and the steadying hand of the moon, and a comet or icy fragment. Even when racing at over 130 miles per second like a TLAS, cannot budge a planet at distances of hundreds of millions of kilometers. At its closest, a TLAS passes 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the separation of Earth and Mars at their closest, 50 times farther than the moon, and its gravitational influence is less than a whisper, less than the tug of tides that shape our seas each day. The equations reassure us. Earth's path around the sun continues as it always has. And yet, beneath certainty, imagination lingers. For history shows us that comets have always been received as omens, their sudden appearance disrupting the cycles of predictability. To ancient observers, the heavens were a map of order, planets and stars tracing paths they could learn and anticipate. But comets arrive without warning, bright, strange, with tails that stretch like swords across the sky. In cultures from China to Europe, they were feared as heralds of war, famine, or death. Even in the modern age, when Halley's Comet returned in 1910, some feared its cyanogen gases would poison Earth's atmosphere, despite reassurances from astronomers. And though science now tells us that comets are natural, we also know that they are dangerous in another way because collisions with them have reshaped worlds, scarred planets and moons, and long ago brought devastation to Earth itself. The impact that ended the reign of dinosaurs was a comet or asteroid, altering not only climate but the trajectory of life, shifting evolution in directions that gave rise to us. So when Atlas appeared, some ancient unease awoke again, and the question whispered, could this change our world's path? Scientists answer firmly that it cannot, but speculation flourishes where mystery lingers. For Atlas is strange in ways that provoke thought. Its speed is immense, faster than any interstellar object seen before. Its chemistry is unprecedented. The James Webb Space Telescope measured a coma where carbon dioxide overwhelms water vapor by a ratio of 81:1, something never before observed. Natural explanations are offered: formation near a sea o snow line, processing by cosmic rays over billions of years, dust mantles sealing water away, but each theory struggles against the extremity of the numbers. Some suggest this imbalance could itself be a marker, a signature chosen to be seen, a message written in molecules. And if that were true, then perhaps alteration comes not in orbit, but in meaning. Not in gravity, but in consciousness, for Atlas forces us to consider possibilities beyond the comfortable. What if such interstellar visitors are probes disguised as comets, their trajectories designed to look natural, their signatures coded to stand out when civilizations become capable of reading them? What if alteration comes in the form of awareness, a nudge to our orbit of certainty, bending us toward humility and wonder? Earth's orbit in space remains unaltered, but Earth's orbit in thought, in culture, in imagination, may already have shifted. We are not alone in such shifts, for Oumuamua altered our mental orbit by forcing us to consider technology. Borisov altered it by reminding us of the normalcy of comets. And Atlas alters it again by straddling both realms. Natural yet anomalous, ordinary yet unsettling. And so, as you rest tonight, let the certainty comfort you. Earth's path around the sun is steady, unbroken, secure. But allow the speculation to accompany you into dreams. Perhaps Atlas has altered us in subtler ways. Perhaps it has changed not our orbit, but our perspective. Perhaps it has nudged us into a new path of thought, one that curves toward the possibility that the universe is filled with watchers and wanderers. That intelligence may speak not in broadcasts, but in silence. Not in ships, but in fragments of ice. Not in words, but in ratios of chemistry. And perhaps the true silent threat is not that our orbit will change, but that our certainty already has. And in that quiet shift lies the beginning of revelation. Did 3 Ieta LS just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep? To wonder if a distant visitor has shifted the path of our world is to blend astronomy with imagination, certainty with speculation, for when the faint dot now called 3I Atlas was detected on July 1st, 2025, by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, it seemed at first like any other nightly discovery, but calculations quickly revealed otherwise. Its orbit not elliptical and bound to the sun, but hyperbolic. An open path that could only mean it had come from beyond. An interstellar traveler passing once before vanishing into the dark. With this, it joined rare company, Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019, each of which unsettled our understanding in different ways. Oumuamua puzzled with its elongated shape and unexplained acceleration. Borisov reassured with its familiar cometary behavior. An atlas now blends features of both cometary glow with chemistry so unusual it resists easy explanation. A speed so vast it dwarfs its predecessors, 130 miles per second at perihelion, with a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, twice that of Oumuamua. Could such a traveler, ancient and fast, have altered Earth's orbit? The answer from physics is no. At its closest approach, it will remain 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the distance between Earth and Mars at their nearest, 50 times the separation of Earth and Moon. Its gravitational tug weaker than our own tides, insignificant compared to the stabilizing presence of Jupiter and the Moon. Earth continues unshaken, its orbit unchanged, its seasons steady. Yet the question lingers because comets have never been just objects of science. They have always carried weight in imagination. Ancient cultures feared them as omens, fiery swords in the sky presaging war or plague, their sudden arrival disrupting the predictability of the heavens. Even Halley's Comet in 1910 sparked fear of poisoning gases despite reassurances. And beyond superstition, comets can alter worlds, for impacts in deep time have scarred planets, reshaped climates, ended ages. To ask if Atlas has changed Earth's orbit is to echo these memories, even as the equations tell us no. What unsettles is not danger, but anomaly. The James Webb Space Telescope, observing on August 6th, revealed a TLA coma to be dominated by carbon dioxide, with a ratio of 81:1 compared to water vapor, unlike any comet known. Explanations are offered: formation near a CO snowline, eons of cosmic ray processing, dust mantles insulating water, but none fully satisfy. And speculation creeps in. Could such a ratio be deliberate, a chemical marker chosen to stand out? Could Atlas be more than ice and rock? Could it be a messenger cloaked in cometary disguise? If so, the alteration it brings is not to Earth's orbit through gravity, but to humanity's orbit of thought, shifting our trajectory of imagination, bending our path toward humility and wonder. For if advanced civilizations exist, perhaps they do not send ships but fragments, probes disguised as comets, messages encoded not in radio but in anomalies, in ratios and trajectories. Oumuamua bent our imagination toward the artificial. Borisov bent it back toward the natural. And Atlas bends it again, straddling both realms, ordinary yet extraordinary. Earth's orbit around the sun remains unchanged, but Earth's orbit around certainty has shifted, our thoughts drawn into new curves. As you drift into rest, let the numbers reassure you. Earth's path is steady. The year will return. The tides will rise, the balance holds. But let the speculation accompany you. Perhaps Atlas has altered us in subtler ways. Perhaps the true orbit it changes is not planetary but philosophical, not celestial but cultural, nudging us to recognize that the universe is filled with wanderers, and that silence itself may be a form of communication. A message carried not in words, but in the quiet presence of a traveler from the stars. Did 3IA TLAS just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep? The question seems almost too large to ask and too simple to dismiss. For when we speak of Earth's orbit, we speak of the foundation of everything familiar, the balance of gravity and motion that gives us years and seasons. Tides and calendars, the steady rhythm of life itself. And so when 3I Atlas was first detected as a faint speck of light on July 1st, 2025, by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, it might have seemed harmless, one more visitor cataloged among countless celestial wanderers. Yet calculations soon showed its orbit was hyperbolic, unbound, proof it came from beyond our solar system, joining Oumuamua and Borisov as only the third confirmed interstellar object, and immediately the question arose: Whispered in headlines and spoken aloud in anxious speculation, could such a traveler alter the path of our world? The scientific answer is clear, and it is no. At its closest, Atlas will remain 270 million kilometers from Earth, twice the distance between our planet and Mars at their nearest, 50 times farther than the Moon, and its gravitational tug is vanishingly small. Less than the sway of tides that rise and fall each day. Less than the subtle shepherding of Jupiter that has for eons protected the inner planets. Earth's orbit remains unchanged, the ellipse steady, the year unbroken. And yet the human mind is not content with numbers alone. For history whispers that comets have never been merely astronomical bodies, they have always been omens. To the ancients, their sudden appearance signaled disruption, fiery messengers that foretold war or plague, their tails drawn like swords across the heavens. In cultures from China to Europe, they were feared as cosmic warnings, and even in the modern age, fear lingered. For when Halley's Comet returned in 1910, some believed its gases would poison Earth, despite reassurances. More than superstition, however, is the memory of real impacts, for fragments from space have struck our world before, altering climate, ending ages, resetting life itself. To ask if Atlas has altered Earth's orbit is to echo these old anxieties, even as physics says no. What fuels imagination now is not danger, but anomaly. Atlas is extraordinary in speed, racing at 130 miles per second, faster than any interstellar object before, and the James Webb Space Telescope revealed its coma to be dominated by carbon dioxide, with a ratio of 81:1 compared to water vapor, something no comet has ever shown. Natural explanations have been offered: formation near a sea-o snow line, cosmic rays altering chemistry over eons, dust mantle concealing water ice, but none are wholly convincing, and the imbalance remains striking. Could such chemistry be a signature, a marker chosen to be noticed, a message disguised as anomaly? Could Atlas be more than frozen rock and ice? Could it be a probe wrapped in the semblance of a comet, its trajectory chosen to appear natural, its silence intentional? If so, the alteration it brings is not to Earth's orbital path, but to the orbit of our thoughts, pulling us away from certainty into new curves of imagination. For orbits are not only celestial, they are conceptual, patterns of thought around the mass of the unknown, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them in its own way. Alma forced us to wonder about the artificial, Borisov reminded us of the natural, and Atlas now straddles both, cometary in appearance yet anomalous in chemistry, ordinary yet unsettling. Earth continues unchanged in its path around the sun, but humanity's orbit around knowledge bends, drawn toward questions of intelligence, purpose, and possibility. As you drift into sleep, let the equations comfort you. The Earth's orbit is steady. The seasons will return, the tides will rise, the balance holds. But let the speculation accompany you as well. Perhaps Atlas has already altered us. Not by gravity, but by meaning. Not by force, but by revelation. And perhaps the silent thread it carries is not collision, but awakening. A slow recognition that the universe is filled with wanderers. Some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional, and that their passing, even at a safe distance, can change the trajectory of our imagination forever. Did 3ITLA thus just alter Earth's orbit? Science for Sleep, to ask whether Earth's orbit has been changed by 3I is to blend two worlds, the precise realm of celestial mechanics and the restless realm of human imagination. For when the object was first spotted on July 1st, 2025 by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, it was no more than a speck of light among millions. Yet calculations soon revealed its trajectory was hyperbolic, an open-ended arc that marked it as an interstellar visitor, unbound to our sun, destined to sweep through and vanish forever. This makes it only the third such object ever seen, after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. Unlike those before it, a TLS unsettles as much as it informs. Oumuamua carried the whisper of artificiality in its unexplained acceleration. Borisov soothed with its normal cometary behavior, and Atlas now blends cometary appearance with anomalies that provoke thought, immense speed, 130 miles per second at perihelion, and a coma chemistry so unusual that scientists admit they have never seen its like. Could such a body alter the orbit of Earth? Physics assures us no. At its closest, it passes 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the Earth-Mars distance, 50 times farther than our moon. Its gravitational influence on Earth is less than the tidal pull we feel daily from our own seas, negligible compared to Jupiter's distant weight or the moon's steady grip. Earth continues its path unshaken, the ellipse around the sun unaltered, the seasons steady. Yet the question lingers not because of physics, but because of memory. For as long as humanity has watched the skies, comets have been treated as omens. To the ancients, they were fiery swords drawn across the night, foretelling famine, plague, or the fall of kings. Even in modern times, they disturbed certainty. Halley's Comet in 1910 sparked fears its gases would poison the atmosphere. And beneath superstition lies truth. For impacts from comets and asteroids have altered worlds before, ending the age of dinosaurs, resetting climate, reshaping evolution. The fear is not entirely unfounded. Atlas, however, does not threaten impact, but its anomalies stir a different unease. When the James Webb Space Telescope examined its coma on August 6th, it revealed carbon dioxide dominating water vapor by 81-1, unlike any comet known. Scientists proposed natural explanations: formation in a CO-rich zone, eons of cosmic rays altering chemistry, dust mantles shielding water ice, but none quite satisfy, and so speculation begins. Could this imbalance be deliberate, a marker left to be noticed, chemistry as communication? Could Atlas be a probe disguised as a comet, its silence intentional, its trajectory crafted to appear natural? If so, the orbit it alters is not planetary, but conceptual, shifting humanity's path around knowledge, bending us toward questions of life and intelligence beyond Earth. Each interstellar visitor has done this. Oumuamua bent imagination toward the artificial, Borisov toward the natural, and Atlas bends us again, occupying the space between cometary yet anomalous. Earth's orbit through space remains unchanged, but Earth's orbit through meaning curves anew. As you prepare for rest, let the mathematics reassure you. The Earth's path is steady, the year intact, the balance secure. But let the speculation drift with you. Perhaps Atlas has already altered us. Not in the mechanics of orbit, but in the orbits of thought. Not in celestial numbers, but in cultural imagination. And perhaps the true shift is the recognition that wanderers pass through often silent messengers from distant stars. Each one a reminder that the universe is stranger, older, and perhaps more purposeful than we allow ourselves to believe. Did 3IATLAS just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep. The question rises quietly but insistently, as though whispered by the object itself as it sweeps inward from the dark between stars. Has the arrival of 3I Atlas changed the path of our world? Has it shifted the delicate orbit that carries Earth around the sun? To answer is at once simple and impossibly complex, for physics speaks firmly while imagination resists closure, and in the gap between calculation and curiosity lies the space where stories take root. The discovery itself was quiet, a pixel of light recorded by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile on the 1st of July, 2025, a speck like thousands of others. Unremarkable until the orbit was plotted and found to be hyperbolic. An open-ended trajectory not bound to the sun, but sweeping through once before disappearing forever. An unmistakable signature of interstellar origin. Thus, Atlas joined the tiny family of confirmed visitors from beyond, following Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. And immediately it carried with it the same mixture of fascination and unease that accompanied its predecessors. Oumuamua had no coma, no dusty halo, yet it accelerated in ways not entirely explained by solar heating, provoking whispers that it might be artificial, a relic of alien engineering. Borisov soothed those whispers by behaving like a conventional comet, venting water and dust in predictable ways, reassuringly ordinary. But Atlas arrived as something in between. A body that glows like a comet, yet carries anomalies so striking they resist easy explanation. Anomalies that provoke the kind of speculation that drifts easily into the realm of philosophy. Chief among these anomalies is its speed. At perihelion on October 29th, it will race past the sun at 130 miles per second, a velocity so immense it could cross the United States in under 3 minutes, a velocity that dwarfs its predecessors. Oumuamua traveled at 26 kilometers per second, Borisov at 32, but Atlas maintains 61 kilometers per second even after subtracting the sun's pull, an excess velocity nearly twice as great. Why? Was it flung with violence from its natal system, cast adrift by the gravity of giants? Did it accumulate momentum over billions of years of wandering, a pinball ricocheting from star to star? Or does the escalation itself, 26, then 32, now 61, suggest something more deliberate, a pattern hiding within coincidence? To the mathematician, the answer is clear. Coincidence is common when samples are few. But to the restless human mind, the sequence whispers intention, and intention implies intelligence. If a TLAS carries mystery in its speed, it carries even greater strangeness in its chemistry. The James Webb Space Telescope, on the 6th of August, revealed a coma dominated not by water vapor but by carbon dioxide. At a ratio of 81:1, an imbalance unprecedented in cometary science. Typical comets, formed in the cold outer reaches of solar systems, carry abundant water ice, their comas swelling with vapor as they approach the sun. Carbon dioxide is present, but as a secondary actor, rarely dominant. Yet Atlas breaks the script entirely, producing a CO-driven halo far from the sun at distances where most comets slumber. Natural explanations have been proposed. Perhaps it formed near a CO snowline in its natal disk, where carbon dioxide condensed preferentially. Perhaps billions of years of cosmic ray bombardment altered its chemistry, locking water beneath crusts while CO escaped. Perhaps dust mantles act as insulation, sealing away one volatile while releasing another. Each is plausible, none is satisfying, and so the anomaly lingers. And where anomalies linger, speculation begins. What if the ratio is not legacy but language? What if chemistry is chosen as code, the molecules themselves arranged to stand out, to signal, to announce? For if a civilization wished to send messages across light years, would it broadcast in fragile radio waves, or would it sculpt objects that endure? Objects that travel for billions of years and carry signatures in their very composition? If so, Atlas may be more than comet, more than wanderer. It may be probe or marker, its trajectory designed to look natural, its silence intentional. If so, then the alteration it brings is not to Earth's orbit in space, but to Earth's orbit of thought, a perturbation of imagination, a shift in our path around certainty. Yet let us linger with the science, for it is soothing, a foundation of precision beneath the drift of speculation. Earth's orbit is held by the gravity of the sun, a grip so immense that the pull of a distant comet is nothing against it. At its closest, 270 million kilometers away, Atlas exerts less influence on Earth than our own moon does each day, less than the steady tug of Jupiter across the solar system. The ellipse of our orbit is ancient, stable, resilient, and Atlas passes through too quickly, too distantly, too lightly to alter it in any measurable way. Seasons will continue, tides will rise, the year will remain 365 days. The mathematics are certain, and yet humanity has never lived on mathematics alone. For as long as eyes have turned upward, comets have been treated as omens. To the ancients, they were fiery swords across the sky, warnings of famine or plague, foretelling the deaths of kings, their suddenness destabilizing the comforting cycles of stars and planets. In China, astronomers feared to report them, for emperors read them as cosmic judgment. In medieval Europe, chroniclers recorded them with dread, linking them to wars and disasters. Even in the 20th century, when Halley's Comet returned in 1910, fear lingered, newspapers fanning anxieties that its gases might poison the Earth, despite astronomers' reassurances. And beneath superstition lies memory, for impacts from comets and asteroids have altered Earth before. 66 million years ago, a fragment struck near Chicxulub, ending the reign of dinosaurs, altering climate, resetting the path of evolution, clearing the stage for mammals, and eventually for us. So the question of orbital alteration is not born from ignorance, but from memory, from the deep knowledge that cosmic wanderers can change worlds. Atlas does not threaten such an impact, yet its anomalies stir unease of a different kind. Unease not of collision, but of revelation. For if it is natural, it forces us to expand our models, to admit that cometary chemistry is more diverse than we thought, that planetary formation produces stranger bodies than we imagined, that the galaxy is richer than our textbooks admit. And if it is not natural, if the anomalies are intentional, then we stand at the edge of something greater, the recognition that intelligence may express itself, not in broadcasts or landings, but in wanderers that look like debris. Probes that masquerade as comets, messages carried in the ordinary, silence chosen as communication. In either case, a TLA alters us, not by shifting the ellipse of Earth's orbit, but by bending the curve of human thought. Al-Mama did this first, forcing us to consider the artificial. Borisov did it next, reminding us of the natural. Atlas does it again, straddling both. A comet that looks ordinary yet behaves extraordinary, ordinary in its glow, extraordinary in its chemistry, ordinary in its path, extraordinary in its speed. Earth's orbit remains unchanged, but humanity's orbit around certainty curves, altered forever. As we rest tonight, let the numbers soothe you. Earth continues its path. Seasons will return, tides will rise, the year will unfold as it always has. But let the speculation accompany you too. Perhaps Atlas has already changed us, not in the mechanics of orbit, but in the orbits of meaning, not in the ellipse of Earth, but in the ellipse of imagination. Perhaps the true alteration is not physical, but philosophical, not gravitational, but cultural. A nudge that shifts our awareness toward the possibility that the universe is alive with wanderers. Some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional. Each one a reminder that we are not alone. Each one a perturbation of certainty, each one a message hidden in silence. And perhaps this is the answer to the question of whether Atlas has altered Earth's orbit. In physics, no, for the path is steady and secure. But in meaning, yes, for the orbit of our thoughts has already been perturbed. And in that shift lies the quiet power of revelation. Did 3IA TLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question returns each time. We lift our eyes to the sky and remember that our world is not fixed but moving, endlessly circling, held in balance by forces invisible yet undeniable. And when a wanderer from beyond the solar system appears, streaking inward on a hyperbolic path, the mind cannot help but ask whether such a body could disturb that balance, whether it could nudge Earth from the familiar orbit that has sustained life for billions of years. When the faint speck that would be named 3IATLAs was first detected on July 1st, 2025 by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, it was just one more point of light among countless stars and asteroids. But the trajectory soon revealed something extraordinary. It was unbound to the sun, not circling back in years or centuries, but passing through once before vanishing into interstellar dark. This alone places it among rare company, the third interstellar visitor ever confirmed after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019, each of which stirred both science and imagination. Oumuamua bent our thinking toward the artificial with its unexplained acceleration, Borisov soothed with its cometary familiarity, and Atlas now blends traits of both appearing comet-like yet behaving with unsettling strangeness, racing faster than anything seen before, carrying chemical signatures no comet has ever displayed. At perihelion on October 29th, it will travel at 130 miles per second, with a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, nearly twice the speed of its predecessors. Its orbit is eccentric beyond one, proof of its interstellar origin. At its closest to Earth, in December, it will remain 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the closest Earth-Mars distance, 50 times farther than the Moon. Physics assures us this is safe. Its gravitational pull is negligible compared to the steady tug of our own Moon, negligible compared to the guiding weight of Jupiter and Saturn. Earth's orbit remains as it has for eons, the ellipse steady, the year unbroken. And yet to ask whether Atlas has altered Earth's orbit is not foolish, for the question carries history within it. Across cultures, comets have always been seen as threats, not just streaks of ice and dust, but omens of change. In ancient China, astronomers feared to report comets lest emperors see them as signs of heaven's displeasure. In Babylonian tablets, comets were catalogued as harbingers of war. In medieval Europe, chroniclers recorded them as fiery swords warning of famine or plague. Even Halley's Comet in 1910 sparked panic as newspapers spread rumors that cyanogen gas in its tail would poison Earth's atmosphere. Beneath these superstitions lies truth. Comets can and have altered worlds. 66 million years ago, a fragment from space ended the reign of dinosaurs and reset the course of life. To ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit echoes the steep memory, even as modern science assures us it cannot. But what makes Atlas unsettling is not only fear of impact of the anomalies it carries. When the James Webb Space Telescope observed it in August, it found its coma dominated by carbon dioxide at a ratio of 81:1 over water vapor, unprecedented in cometary science. Typical comets are driven by water sublimation as they near the sun, with CO as a secondary player, but Atlas breaks this script. How? Theories are offered. Perhaps it formed near a carbon dioxide snowline in its natal system, where CO froze more abundantly than water. Perhaps cosmic rays, over billions of years, altered its chemistry, trapping water beneath crusts while CO escaped. Perhaps dust mantles insulated water while allowing CO to leak. Each explanation is plausible, none are satisfying. And so speculation arises. Could the imbalance be a message, a ratio chosen to stand out? Could Atlas itself be more than ice and rock? More than chance? Could it be technology disguised as comet? Trajectory designed to appear natural, chemistry coded to catch attention, silence chosen to be louder than words? Such speculation may seem fanciful, but it is not without precedent. Oumuamua, after all, displayed acceleration unexplained by outgassing. Avi Loeb, the Harvard astronomer, suggested it might be a light sail, a fragment of alien technology. Mainstream science leaned toward natural explanations, yet the debate revealed a truth. Sometimes nature produces signatures, so strange they blur the line between accident and intention. If Atlas is natural, it expands our models, reminding us that planetary formation produces more diversity than we imagined, that the galaxy is richer than our categories allow. If it is not natural, if the anomalies are intentional, then it becomes a message disguised as debris, a probe hidden in plain sight, intelligence cloaked in the ordinary. In either case, a TLAS alters us, not by tugging on Earth's orbit, but by tugging on our thoughts. For orbits are not only physical, they are conceptual, paths of thought around the mass of the unknown, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Alma Amma bent us toward the artificial, Borisov bent us back toward the natural, Atlas bends us again into the uncertain middle. A comet that is ordinary in appearance, yet extraordinary in behavior. Earth's path around the sun remains steady, but humanity's path around certainty curves anew. And so we drift deeper into speculation. Could advanced civilizations send probes disguised as comets, silent wanderers traveling for eons, their trajectories chosen to intersect with inhabited systems? Could chemistry be code, molecular ratios arranged as markers? Could the sequence of visitors Oumuamua, Borisov, Atlas be more than coincidence? A pattern designed to unfold step by step, each one escalating the question of coincidence versus design? If so, then Earth's orbit is unchanged, but Earth's story is not. For even without gravitational alteration, a TLAS has perturbed us. It has shifted our orbit of imagination, our orbit of humility, our orbit of wonder. And this may be the true silent threat, not impact, not catastrophe, but revelation. The recognition that the universe is alive with wanderers. Some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional. Each one a reminder that we are not alone, each one a message written in silence. The earth continues around the sun, secure, steady, unbroken. But our certainty has been nudged, our assumptions perturbed, our imagination set into new motion. And perhaps that is alteration enough, a shift not in the ellipse of stone and sea, but in the orbit of mind and meaning. A reminder that while physics reassures, philosophy expands, and that in the quiet of night, as you drift into sleep, the universe whispers through wanderers like Atlas. Not with force, but with presence, not with collision, but with possibility. And in that whisper lies the subtle truth. Earth's orbit remains the same, but our path of thought has already been changed forever. Did three-eyed TLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question lingers like a soft echo in the night sky. Asked quietly, yet carrying with it the weight of both science and imagination. For when the faint speck now known as Three-Eye Atlas was first recorded on July 1st, 2025, by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, it was indistinguishable from countless other points of light, one among thousands catalogued every night. But within days, its trajectory revealed something extraordinary. It was not circling the sun, not bound in the elegant ellipses that have guided comets and asteroids for billions of years, but tracing an open hyperbolic path, proof that it had come from beyond. A traveler from another star sweeping through our solar system once before vanishing into interstellar darkness. Only two such visitors had been seen before, Alma Amma in 2017 and Borisov in 2019, and each unsettled us in its own way. Oumuamua bent our thoughts toward the artificial with its unexplained acceleration and unusual shape. Borisov soothed those whispers by behaving like a typical comet with water, ice, and dust, venting in predictable patterns. And now Atlas arrives as a paradox, comet-like in appearance, yet carrying anomalies that resist easy explanation. Anomalies that revive the question anew. Could this visitor alter Earth's orbit? Could it disturb the steady ellipse that has carried our world for billions of years? The answer, according to the firm hand of physics, is no. At its closest approach, a TLAS will remain 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the minimum distance between Earth and Mars, 50 times farther than the Moon, its mass only a fraction of a mountain, its gravitational influence weaker than the daily tug of our own tides. Earth's orbit remains unaltered, the ellipse steady, the seasons returning. And yet the question persists because comets have never been only physical objects. They have always carried symbolic weight. To the ancients, they were fiery swords, omens of war, famine, disruptions in the otherwise predictable clockwork of the heavens. In Babylon, they were recorded as portents of conquest. In China, their appearances were tied to the fate of emperors. In medieval Europe, they were painted in chronicles as heralds of plague. Even Halley's Comet in 1910 inspired fear despite scientific reassurance. Some convinced its gases would poison the Earth. Beneath these fears lies memory. For we know comets can change worlds, not by passing, but by striking. As they have scarred planets, moons, and long ago ended the reign of dinosaurs on Earth, to ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that memory. Even if this time there is no danger of collision. What fuels unease is not impact, but anomaly. Atlas is extraordinary in speed, faster than any interstellar visitor before, and stranger still in chemistry. When the James Webb Space Telescope examined it on August 6th, it revealed coma dominated not by water vapor, but by carbon dioxide, with a ratio of 81:1, unlike any comet in memory. Scientists offered explanations: formation in a CO-rich region of its natal disk, eons of cosmic rays altering chemistry, insulating dust mantles shielding water, but none fully convince, and so speculation grows. Could such chemistry be signal, a ratio chosen to stand out? Could Atlas itself be more than comet? Could it be probe or messenger, its trajectory designed to look natural, its silence intentional? If so, then perhaps it does alter Earth's orbit, not in physics, but in meaning. Not in gravity, but in imagination, shifting our path of thought around the mass of the unknown. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also conceptual, patterns of thought around questions that outweigh answers, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them in its own way. Alma Alma bent us toward the possibility of technology. Borisov bent us back toward natural explanation. Atlas bends us again, straddling both realms. Cometary in form, yet anomalous in substance, ordinary yet unsettling. Earth's path around the sun continues unchanged, but humanity's orbit around certainty shifts, curving anew toward humility, wonder, and speculation. And so as you drift into rest tonight, let the mathematics comfort you. Earth's orbit is steady, the year intact, the seasons assured. But let imagination follow. Perhaps Atlas has already changed us. Perhaps it has altered not our planet, but our perspective. Not our ellipse in space, but our ellipse of thought. And perhaps the true silent thread it carries is not impact, but revelation. The subtle recognition that the universe is alive with wanderers. Some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional. Each one a message not shouted, but whispered. Each one a reminder that while Earth's orbit is steady, the orbit of our certainty is always waiting to be nudged. Did 3i Atlas just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question feels at once simple and impossible. Grounded in physics, yet drifting into imagination. For when the faint light of 3i ATLAS was first captured by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile on July 1st, 2025, it was no more than a dot among countless others. Yet calculations soon revealed a truth that placed it among the rarest of cosmic visitors, Its path was hyperbolic, not looping around the sun in familiar ellipses, but sweeping in once before vanishing forever into the dark between stars. With that realization, it joined only two predecessors, Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. And immediately the question surfaced as it had before. Could such an object change us? Could it alter the orbit of our planet? The science is firm, and it soothes us. At its closest approach, ATLAS remains 270 million kilometers away, nearly twice the minimum Earth-Mars distance. 50 times farther than the moon, its gravitational tug is negligible compared to the pull of our moon, less than the steady guiding hand of Jupiter, and far weaker than the forces that stabilize Earth's orbit across eons. The ellipse of our path around the sun endures unchanged. The year remains steady, the seasons return. And yet the question lingers, not because physics is uncertain, but because imagination is restless. For comets have never been mere astronomical bodies. They have always carried meaning. To ancient skywatchers, they were fiery swords, sudden and unpredictable intruders in the orderly heavens, omens of plague, famine, or the fall of kings. In China, court astronomers feared to report them for what rulers might infer. In Europe, they filled chronicles with dread, their luminous tales seen as warnings of disaster. Even in 1910, when Halley's Comet returned, modern newspapers fanned panic, some claiming its gases would poison Earth's air. Beneath superstition lies truth, for impacts have indeed altered worlds. 66 million years ago, a fragment ended the reign of dinosaurs and redirected the flow of evolution. To ask whether Atlas has altered Earth's orbit echoes this memory, even if no impact threatens us now. What unsettles with Atlas is not danger, but anomaly. At perihelion, it moves at 130 miles per second, faster than any interstellar object before. With an excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, even after the sun's pull is removed, nearly double Oumuam's. And the James Webb Space Telescope examined its coma on August 6th that found carbon dioxide overwhelming water vapor at a ratio of 81:1, a chemistry never seen in comets before. Scientists offer natural explanations formation in a CO-rich region of a distant disk. Cosmic rays altering chemistry across billions of years. Dust mantles sealing water while CO escapes, but none fully satisfy, and so speculation rises. Could the ratio be a marker, a chemical code? Could Atlas itself be a probe cloaked in cometary disguise, its path chosen to look natural, its silence deliberate? If so, then perhaps it has altered Earth's orbit in another sense. Not in the geometry of celestial mechanics, but in the orbit of human thought, bending our path around knowledge, nudging our certainty into new curves of humility and wonder. For orbits are not only physical, they are conceptual patterns of meaning circling the mass of the unknown, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Oumuamua bent our imagination toward the artificial, Borisov bent it back toward the natural. And Atlas bends us again, straddling both. Ordinary in its glow, yet extraordinary in its chemistry. Ordinary in trajectory, yet extraordinary in speed. Earth's path around the sun remains steady, but humanity's path through possibility shifts. As you drift toward sleep, let the mathematics reassure you. Earth is safe, its orbit unchanged, the year intact. That let speculation drift alongside. Perhaps Atlas has already altered us. Not our planet, but our perspective. Not our orbit in space, but our orbit of imagination. And perhaps the true silent thread it carries is not impact, but revelation. The quiet recognition that the universe is filled with wanderers. Some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional. Each one a whisper in the dark, reminding us that while our orbit is steady, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did three IATLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for Sleep, the appearance of 3I Atlas, asks us to weigh the certainty of celestial mechanics against the unease of human imagination. For when the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile recorded a faint point of light on July 1st, 2025, it was one among thousands. Yet calculations quickly revealed its extraordinary nature. It was not circling the sun like a familiar comet, but tracing a hyperbolic path. Proof of interstellar origin, destined to pass through once and never return. In that moment, it joined the tiny company of wanderers before it. Alma in 2017 and Borisov in 2019, each of which unsettled our expectations. Alma bent us toward the artificial with its unexplained acceleration and lack of a coma. Borisov soothed us with its predictable cometary activity, and Atlas now arrives with traits of both. Comet-like in appearance, yet carrying anomalies that resist easy explanation. The question that whispers beneath every discussion is whether such a body could alter the orbit of Earth, could disturb the ellipse that has carried our world for billions of years. Physics answers firmly, no. ATLAS will never come closer than 270 million kilometers, nearly twice the minimum Earth-Mars distance, 50 times farther than the Moon. Its gravitational tug is less than the pull of tides upon our seas, less than the steady guiding of Jupiter across the solar system. Earth's path remains unshaken, its orbit steady, its seasons secure. Yet the question lingers because comets have never been only objects of science. They have always been signs. To the ancients, they were fiery swords and cosmic messengers, unpredictable intruders into the order of the heavens. In China, their appearance was tied to the fate of emperors. In Babylon, they marked wars and upheavals. In medieval Europe, they were feared as omens of famine or plague. Even in modern times, Halley's Comet in 1910 inspired panic, some believing its gases would poison the air. Beneath the fear is memory, for we know comets can alter worlds not by passing but by striking, as they have scarred the moon and planets, and as one did 66 million years ago, when it ended the reign of the dinosaurs and reshaped the flow of evolution. To ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that memory, even though its distance and size forbid it. What unsettles with Atlas is its strangeness. At perihelion, it will travel at 130 miles per second, faster than any interstellar object before, with an excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, a speed that defies easy accounting. And when the James Webb Space Telescope observed it on August 6th, it found a coma dominated not by water vapor, but by carbon dioxide, at a ratio of 81:1, unlike any comet known. Natural explanations have been proposed: formation in a CO-rich region of its natal disk, billions of years of cosmic ray processing, dust mantles sealing water while allowing carbon dioxide to escape, but none are entirely satisfying. And so speculation stirs. Could the anomaly be deliberate, a signal written in chemistry, a message chosen to stand out? Could Atlas be more than comet, more than chance? Could it be a disguised probe, its trajectory designed to mimic the natural, its silence chosen to provoke curiosity? If so, then perhaps it does alter Earth's orbit, not in the physical geometry of space, but in the conceptual orbits of thought, shifting our trajectory of imagination. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also philosophical patterns of meaning that circle around mystery, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Alma bent us toward speculation of the artificial. Borisov bent us back toward the reassurance of the natural. And Atlas bends us again into the uncertain middle. Ordinary yet extraordinary, familiar yet strange. Earth continues its path unchanged, but humanity's orbit around certainty has shifted, our imagination drawn into new curves of humility and wonder. As you settle into rest, let the mathematics comfort you. Earth's path is steady, the year secure, the ellipse unbroken. That let speculation drift alongside. Perhaps Atlas has already altered us. Not by gravity, but by meaning. Not by force, but by revelation. A reminder that the universe is alive with wanderers, each one a silent message passing through, and that while Earth's orbit is safe, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did three IATLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question rises again, softly but insistently, as if carried by the interstellar visitor itself. Could the passage of 3I Atlas truly have changed the orbit of Earth? Could a fragment of ice and dust from another star nudge our world from the ancient path that has circled the sun for billions of years? When the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile first recorded the speck of light on July 1st, 2025, it was just one among thousands, but calculations revealed its extraordinary nature, its trajectory hyperbolic, its orbit open, proof it had come from beyond, destined to sweep through once and vanish forever into the dark. Only two such objects had ever been seen before, Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. And like them, Atlas arrived not just as an object, but as a question. Oumuamua disturbed us with its unexplained acceleration and cigar-like shape. Raising whispers of artificiality, Borisov reassured us by behaving like an ordinary comet, venting water and dust, but Atlas is something in between. Ordinary enough to be catalogued as a comet, yet extraordinary in speed and chemistry. Fast enough to cover continents in minutes, carrying a coma dominated by carbon dioxide in ratios never seen before. At perihelion on October 29th, it races at 130 miles per second. And even when the sun's pull is subtracted, it carries a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, nearly double Oumuamua's. At its closest approach to Earth in December, it remains 270 million kilometers away, 50 times the distance to our moon, its gravitational tug on our planet weaker than the daily sway of tides. Physics answers firmly. No, Atlas cannot alter Earth's orbit. The ellipse is steady, the year secure, the balance unbroken. And yet the question persists, for comets have never been merely physical. To ancient eyes, they were omens, fiery intrusions into the ordered heavens. In China, their arrival was tied to the fate of emperors, in Babylon to war, in medieval Europe to famine or plague. Their tales painted in chronicles as swords of fire. Even Halley's Comet in 1910 spread fear despite science, newspapers warning of gases that might poison the air. Beneath superstition lies memory, for impacts from comets and asteroids have changed worlds, scarred moons and planets, ended ages. 66 million years ago, a fragment ended the reign of dinosaurs, altered climate, reshaped evolution. To ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that memory, even though this time the mathematics protect us. What unsettles about Atlas is not danger, but anomaly. When the James Webb Space Telescope studied its coma on August 6th, it found carbon dioxide outshining water vapor by 81 to 1, unlike any comet before. Theories attempt to explain. Perhaps Atlas formed in a CO-rich zone of its natal disk. Perhaps billions of years of cosmic rays sealed water while leaving carbon dioxide free. Perhaps dust mantles insulate its ices unevenly. All are plausible, none are certain. And so speculation begins. Could such a ratio be chosen, a signal encoded in chemistry? Could Atlas itself be more than comet? Could it be a probe cloaked in disguise, its trajectory designed to mimic natural mechanics, its silence intentional? If so, then perhaps it does alter Earth's orbit, not the ellipse of stone and sea, but the orbit of our imagination, nudging us from certainty into wonder. For orbits are not only physical, they are conceptual, paths of thought circling around mysteries we cannot yet resolve, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Alma Ama bent us toward speculation of technology, Borisov bent us back toward the comfort of the natural, and Atlas bends us once more into the uncertain middle, cometary yet anomalous, ordinary yet strange. Earth continues on its steady path, but humanity's orbit around knowledge curves anew, drawn toward humility and speculation. As you drift into sleep, let the numbers soothe you. Earth's orbit is unchanged. The seasons will return, tides will rise, the ellipse holds. But let imagination accompany you. Perhaps Atlas has already altered us. Not through gravity, but through meaning. Not through force, but through presence. A reminder that the universe is alive with wanderers. Some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional. Each one a silent message passing through. Each one proof that while Earth's orbit is steady, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did 3ITLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question arises with the quiet insistence of a thought too strange to ignore. As if the universe itself had whispered it into our collective imagination, could the arrival of 3I Atlas, an interstellar wanderer sweeping through our solar system, have altered the orbit of Earth? Could a fragment of ice and dust from another star have shifted the steady ellipse that has carried our world around the sun for billions of years? The scientists answer swiftly and firmly. No, Earth's orbit remains untouched, the path secure, the mathematics clear. Yet the question persists, returning each night like the comet itself rising in the dark, because it is not only a scientific question, but also a symbolic one, and while physics reassures, imagination stirs. The story begins on July 1st, 2025, when the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile recorded a faint speck among countless others, one more point of light in a sky filled with them, unremarkable until its path was plotted and found to be hyperbolic, open-ended proof that it came from beyond, unbound to the sun, destined to pass through once before vanishing into the deep silence between stars. In that moment, it joined only two predecessors, Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019, each of which unsettled us in different ways. Oumuamua bent our thoughts toward the artificial, its cigar-like form and unexplained acceleration raising whispers that it might be a probe. Borisov soothed us with its ordinary cometary behavior, a natural visitor with a dusty coma and icy tail. Atlas, however, stands between them, both ordinary and extraordinary, comet-like in appearance, yet carrying mysteries that resist easy explanation. Its speed alone is staggering. At perihelion, it races at 130 miles per second. And even when the sun's gravity is accounted for, it carries a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, nearly double Oumuamua's and Borisov's. Faster than any object of its kind ever recorded. Why so fast? Was it flung violently from its natal system, cast out by the gravity of a giant planet? Or has it accumulated speed over eons of wandering, ricocheting through gravitational fields until it reached this unprecedented pace? Or, whispers the speculative mind, could its velocity itself be intentional? A chosen speed designed to appear natural, yet calculated to intersect our system at a precise time? As if speed could be a kind of message, a signature written in momentum. And then there is its chemistry. When the James Webb Space Telescope examined it on August 6th, it found something astonishing. A coma dominated by carbon dioxide at a ratio of 81:1 over water vapor. A balance unlike any comet ever measured. Normally, comets are driven by water ice, sublimating under the sun's warmth. Their comas filled with vapor and dust, while carbon dioxide plays only a supporting role. But Atlas breaks the pattern entirely, venting CO in vast amounts even far from the sun, where most comets remain silent. Natural explanations have been proposed. Perhaps it formed in a CO-rich zone of its natal protoplanetary disk, where conditions favored that ice over water. Perhaps billions of years of cosmic ray bombardment altered its chemistry, sealing water beneath crusts while leaving carbon dioxide free to escape. Perhaps dust mantles insulate its core, locking water away while CO leaks. Each idea is possible, not entirely convincing. And so speculation grows. Could the anomaly be deliberate, chemistry chosen as code, a ratio crafted to be so strange it could not be missed? Could Atlas itself be more than comet, a probe cloaked in disguise, its trajectory designed to mimic natural orbital mechanics, its silence intentional, its chemical fingerprint a message? If so, then perhaps Atlas does alter Earth's orbit, not in the geometry of space, but in the architecture of thought, not in gravity, but in meaning. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also conceptual. The paths our minds take around mysteries that outweigh our answers, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Alma Ama bent us toward the artificial, Borisov bent us back toward the natural, Atlas bends us again into uncertainty, straddling both, cometary yet anomalous, ordinary yet strange. Earth's orbit remains unchanged, the ellipse secure, but humanity's orbit around certainty curves, shifted into new arcs of humility and wonder. To understand why the question persists, we must remember history, for comets have always carried significance beyond their physics. In Babylon, they were recorded as portents of war. In China, their appearance was tied to the fate of emperors. In Europe, they filled chronicles as fiery swords heralding famine or plague. Even in 1910, when Halley's Comet returned, modern newspapers spread fear that its gases would poison the air. Beneath superstition lies memory, for impacts from comets and asteroids have indeed altered worlds. 66 million years ago, a fragment struck Earth and ended the reign of dinosaurs, altering climate, redirecting the course of evolution. To ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that memory, even as science assures us it cannot. What it can alter, however, is our imagination, our willingness to consider that the universe may hold more intelligence than we recognize, more diversity than our theories predict. Each measurement of Atlas expands our sense of the possible. Its speed forces us to wonder about its origin. Its chemistry forces us to question our models. Its silence forces us to speculate about intention. And so, even as physics comforts us, Atlas will never come closer than 270 million kilometers. Its gravitational pull weaker than tides. Its influence negligible. We find ourselves perturbed nonetheless. Not by force, but by possibility. Not by collision, but by revelation. For if Atlas is natural, it teaches us that the galaxy produces bodies stranger than we imagined, that planetary formation yields diversity we have not yet catalogued. And if it is not natural, if its anomalies are chosen, then it becomes something greater, a message in the guise of a comet, a probe cloaked in silence, a visitor designed not to destroy but to provoke thought. In either case, Earth's physical orbit remains steady, but Earth's conceptual orbit shifts. We curve away from certainty toward humility, toward wonder. As you rest tonight, let the numbers soothe you. Earth's orbit is safe, the seasons will return, the ellipse endures. But let imagination accompany you too. Perhaps Atlas has already changed us. Not our planet, but our perspective. Not our orbit in space, but our orbit of meaning. And perhaps the true alteration is not gravitational, but philosophical. Not a shift in stone and sea, but a shift in mind and spirit. A reminder that the universe is alive with wonders. Each one a silent message written across the sky. Each one proof that while Earth's orbit is steady, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did 3IATLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question persists like a low hum at the edge of thought, a soft whisper that lingers long after the mathematics have offered their reassurance. Could the arrival of 3I Atlas have altered the path of our world? Could a fragment from another star shift the steady ellipse that Earth has followed around the sun for billions of years? The firm hand of celestial mechanics says no. The orbit of Earth is held in balance by the vast gravity of the sun, stabilized by resonances with Jupiter and Saturn, tuned gently by the tug of our moon, Atlas, though fast and strange, is small and distant. A mountain of ice and rock at most, passing no nearer than 270 million kilometers, nearly twice the distance of Earth to Mars at closest approach, 50 times farther than the moon. Its gravitational pull on Earth is negligible, less than the daily sway of tides, less than the whisper of Jupiter's hand across the solar seas. The ellipse endures, the year remains 365 days, the seasons return. And yet the question remains, not because physics is uncertain, but because imagination resists closure. For when the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile first recorded the faint point of light on July 1st, 2025, it was just one among thousands, indistinguishable from stars and asteroids, until calculations revealed its hyperbolic trajectory, proof that it came from beyond, that it would sweep through once before vanishing forever into the dark between stars. With that realization, it joined rare company, only the third confirmed interstellar object after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. And like those before it arrived not only as an astronomical body, but as a challenge to our understanding. Oumuamua, with its unexplained acceleration and lack of a cometary coma, bent our thoughts toward the artificial. Borisov soothed us with its ordinary cometary behavior, venting dust and water vapor in predictable fashion. Atlas lies between, comet-like yet anomalous, ordinary in appearance, yet extraordinary in speed and chemistry. At perihelion on October 29th, it races at 130 miles per second, with a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, nearly double its predecessors. Why so fast? Was it flung violently from its natal system, cast out by the gravity of a giant planet? Or has it accumulated speed through billions of years of wandering, ricocheting from star to star? Or could its velocity itself be chosen, designed, crafted to look natural, yet calculated to bring it here now? Then there is its chemistry. When the James Webb Space Telescope observed it on August 6th, it found a coma dominated by carbon dioxide at a ratio of 81:1 over water vapor. Unprecedented in cometary science. Typical comets are driven by water ice sublimating as they approach the sun, their comas swelling with vapor and dust. Carbon dioxide plays a role, but as a secondary actor, rarely dominant. Yet Atlas breaks this pattern entirely, venting CO even at distances where most comets slumber. Natural explanations have been proposed. Perhaps it formed near a CO snowline in its natal protoplanetary disk. Perhaps billions of years of cosmic rays altered its chemistry. Perhaps dust mantles insulate its water ice while allowing CO to escape. Each idea is plausible, none are fully satisfying. And so speculation grows. Could the anomaly be deliberate, chemistry chosen as code, a ratio crafted to stand out? Could Atlas itself be more than comet? Could it be probe, messenger, artifact? Its trajectory designed to mimic natural mechanics, its silence intentional, its chemistry a message written in molecules? If so, then perhaps Atlas does alter Earth's orbit, not the ellipse of stone and sea, but the orbit of thought, bending our path around knowledge, perturbing our certainty, nudging us toward wonder. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also conceptual, the patterns of thought that circle mysteries we cannot resolve. And each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Oumuamua bent us toward speculation of technology, Borisov bent us back toward the comfort of the natural. Atlas bends us again into the uncertain middle, cometary yet anomalous, ordinary yet strange. Earth's orbit remains steady, but humanity's orbit around certainty curves. To understand why this question haunts us, we must remember history. Comets have always been more than objects. To the ancients, they were fiery swords across the sky, omens of plague, famine, or the fall of kings. In China, their appearance was tied to the fate of dynasties. In Babylon, they were catalogued as portents of war. In medieval Europe, they filled chronicles as warnings of disaster. Even in 1910, when Halley's Comet returned, newspapers spread fear that its gases might poison the air. Beneath superstition lies memory, for impacts have indeed altered worlds. 66 million years ago, a fragment ended the reign of dinosaurs and redirected evolution. To ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that memory, even though science assures us it cannot. What it can alter is imagination, our willingness to consider that the universe may be more diverse, more intelligent, more purposeful than we assume. Each observation expands our sense of possibility. Its speed forces us to question its origin. Its chemistry forces us to reconsider our models. Its silence forces us to wonder about intention. And so, even as mathematics comforts us, Earth is safe, its orbit steady, we find ourselves perturbed nonetheless. Not by collision, but by revelation. For if Atlas is natural, it teaches us humility, showing that the galaxy produces bodies stranger than we imagined. And if it is not natural, if its anomalies are chosen, then it becomes something greater, a message disguised as a comet, a probe cloaked in silence, a visitor designed not to destroy but to provoke thought. In either case, Earth's physical orbit endures, but Earth's conceptual orbit shifts. As you rest tonight, let the numbers soothe you. Earth's path is steady, the ellipse secure, the year assured. But let imagination accompany you. Perhaps Atlas has already altered us. Not our planet, but our perspective. Not our orbit in space, but our orbit in meaning. And perhaps the true alteration is not gravitational, but philosophical. Not in stone and sea, but in mind and certainty. A reminder that the universe is alive with wanderers. Each one a silent message passing through. Each one proof that while Earth's orbit is steady, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did 3IATLAs just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question continues to echo, steady as a heartbeat beneath the sky. For although the mathematics of celestial mechanics have already offered their calm assurance, imagination refuses to be quiet, and so we ask again, could the passage of 3I Atlas, a comet-like wanderer from another star, have altered the orbit of Earth? Could this icy fragment from the depths of interstellar space have nudged our world from the path it has traced for billions of years? Physics answers clearly and completely, no. The mass of Earth is vast compared to the body of Atlas. The sun's gravity holds our orbit with unbreakable force, and the distance of closest approach is immense, some 270 million kilometers. Nearly twice the distance between Earth and Mars, 50 times farther than the moon. Its gravitational tug upon our world is less than the whisper of tides, less than the guiding pull of Jupiter's hand across the solar system, less even than the subtle push of sunlight on our atmosphere. The orbit of Earth is steady, the ellipse continues, the year unfolds as it always has. The seasons return, the balance endures. And yet the question lingers, not because the physics is in doubt, but because history and imagination have taught us to treat comets as more than mere objects. They are symbols, disruptions, messengers. In ancient Babylon, they were catalogued as portents of war. In China, they were tied to the fate of emperors. In Europe, they were painted in chronicles as fiery swords that warned of famine or plague. Even Halley's Comet in 1910 sparked panic despite scientific reassurance. as newspapers fanned rumors that cyanogen gas in its tail might poison Earth's air. Beneath superstition lies memory, for we know that impacts have altered worlds. Scarred moons, reshaped planets, and long ago ended the reign of dinosaurs on Earth. To ask whether Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that deep memory. Even though the numbers protect us, what unsettles about Atlas is not danger but anomaly. At perihelion, it races at 130 miles per second, faster than any interstellar object before it, carrying a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, nearly double Oumuamua's, far greater than Borisov's. Why such speed? Was it flung with violence from its natal system, cast out by giant planets? Or has it gathered velocity across billions of years of wandering, bouncing through gravitational fields until it reached this furious pace? Or, whispers the speculative mind, could its velocity itself be intentional? Chosen, designed, meant to appear natural, yet calculated to bring it here now? And then there is its chemistry. When the James Webb Space Telescope observed it on August 6th, it revealed a coma dominated by carbon dioxide, at a ratio of 81:1 over water vapor, unprecedented in the history of cometary science. Most comets are driven by water ice sublimating as they near the sun, their comas swelling with vapor and dust, with carbon dioxide only a secondary player. Yet Atlas breaks this pattern, venting CO, even far from the sun where other comets remain silent. Scientists propose explanations. Perhaps it formed in a CO-rich region of its natal protoplanetary disk. Perhaps cosmic rays over billions of years altered its chemistry, sealing water beneath crusts while leaving CO to escape. Perhaps dust mantles insulate the ices unevenly. Each explanation is plausible, none wholly convincing, and so speculation grows. Could the anomaly be deliberate, chemistry chosen as code, molecules arranged as a marker, a ratio designed to be noticed? Could Atlas be more than comet, a probe cloaked in cometary disguise, its trajectory crafted to mimic natural orbital mechanics, its silence chosen, its chemistry a signal? If so, then perhaps Atlas has indeed altered Earth's orbit. Not the ellipse of stone and sea, but the orbit of imagination, bending our path around certainty, perturbing our ideas of what is possible, nudging our minds toward wonder. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also conceptual, paths of thought circling mysteries too large to resolve, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Alma bent our thinking toward the artificial. Borisov bent it back toward the natural. Atlas bends us again into uncertainty, cometary yet anomalous, ordinary yet strange. The Earth continues its path around the sun unchanged, but humanity's orbit around knowledge curves into new arcs. To linger with the question is to admit that comets are more than astronomical. They are also psychological. They remind us of fragility, of history, of the vastness beyond. They remind us that Earth is not alone in space, but bathed in the debris of cosmic processes, that wanderers cross our skies not rarely, but often, most unseen, some spectacular. Each arrival shifts our thinking, reminding us of vulnerability, possibility, humility. And so Atlas alters us not with gravity, but with meaning. As you drift toward rest tonight, let the numbers soothe you. Earth's orbit is steady, secure, unaltered. But let imagination drift with you as well. Perhaps Atlas has already changed us. Not by collision, but by revelation, not by force, but by presence. And perhaps the true silent thread it carries is not destruction, but disclosure. A reminder that the universe is alive with wanderers, each one a message written in silence, each one proof that while Earth's orbit is steady, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did 3I ice just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question persists like a faint vibration carried across centuries of stargazing. A whisper that grows louder each time an interstellar object graces our skies. Could this one, 31ATLAS, truly have altered Earth's orbit? Could its silent passage have nudged the delicate ellipse that has carried our planet faithfully around the sun since before there was life in the seas? Physics, with its calm and uncompromising clarity, answers no. The sun's gravity is immense, Earth's inertia enormous, and Atlas is small and distant, a frozen mountain adrift, passing no nearer than 270 million kilometers, nearly twice the closest Earth-Mars distance. 50 times farther than the moon, its tug upon Earth is vanishing. Less than the daily tides, less than the whisper of Jupiter's distant hand, less than the subtle pressure of sunlight on our upper atmosphere. Earth's orbit is unchanged. The year remains 365 days. The seasons return with their ancient rhythm. Yet the question remains because imagination cannot be quieted so easily. Because history has taught us that comets are never only comets. They have always been messengers, their appearances woven into the fate of kings, the rise of dynasties, the fall of empires. In Babylonian records, they were omens of conquest. In China, their tales were tied to the fortunes of emperors. In Europe, they were painted into chronicles as flaming swords of famine or plague. Even in 1910, when Halley's Comet swept past, modern newspapers fanned panic that cyanogen gas in its tail might poison the Earth. Beneath superstition lies truth. For comets and asteroids have altered worlds, scarred planets, carved craters into moons, and 66 million years ago ended the reign of dinosaurs, reshaping evolution and opening the path for us. To ask whether Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that ancient memory, even as the numbers protect us. What unsettles about Atlas is not threat of impact, but anomaly. Discovered on July 1st, 2025, by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, it revealed itself to be extraordinary, not bound to the sun, but tracing an open hyperbolic path, a visitor from beyond. Only the third of its kind after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. At perihelion on October 29th, it races at 130 miles per second with a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, nearly double its predecessors, faster than any interstellar visitor before. Why so fast? Was it hurled outward by the violent embrace of giant planets in its birth system, or did it gather momentum through eons of wandering, bouncing through gravitational fields? Or, whispers the speculative mind, could its velocity itself be chosen, designed to appear natural while ensuring it would intersect our solar system at precisely this time? Then there is its chemistry, stranger still. When the James Webb Space Telescope observed it on August 6th, it found its coma dominated not by water vapor, but by carbon dioxide at a ratio of 81:1. Unprecedented, a composition never seen in a comet before. Normally, comets are driven by water ice sublimating under the sun's warmth, carbon dioxide present, but secondary. ATLA breaks the pattern, venting CO even when far from the sun where most comets slumber. Natural explanations abound. Perhaps it formed in a CO-rich region of its natal disk. Perhaps billions of years of cosmic rays altered its chemistry. Perhaps dust mantles insulated water ice while allowing CO to leak. Each idea is possible, none fully satisfying. And so speculation grows. Could the anomaly be deliberate, chemistry chosen as code, a message written in molecules? Could Atlas itself be more than comet, a probe cloaked in disguise, its trajectory designed to mimic natural mechanics, its silence intentional, its fingerprint crafted to provoke thought? If so, then perhaps Atlas has altered Earth's orbit after all. Not in the geometry of stone and sea, but in the trajectory of thought. shifting our orbit around certainty, nudging us toward humility and wonder. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also conceptual, paths our minds trace around mysteries larger than ourselves, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Alma Amma bent us toward the artificial, Borisov bent us back toward the natural, Atlas bends us again into uncertainty, cometary yet anomalous, ordinary yet strange. Earth's physical path remains steady, but humanity's orbit around knowledge has shifted, curved into new arcs. And perhaps this is the true silent threat. Not impact or destruction, but revelation. The disclosure that the universe is alive with wanderers. Some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional. Each one a reminder that we are not alone. Each one a whisper in the dark. As you drift into rest, let the numbers reassure you. Earth's orbit is steady. The ellipse endures. The year continues. The seasons return. But let imagination wander with you. Perhaps Atlas has already changed us. Not in gravity, but in meaning. Not in stone and sea, but in certainty and thought. And perhaps the true alteration is not celestial mechanics, but cosmic perspective. A recognition that while Earth's orbit is steady, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did 3IA TLS just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question, though answered by mathematics long before it was asked, continues to ripple across our imagination. Could the arrival of 3I Atlas, an interstellar traveler sweeping through our skies in 2025, have altered Earth's orbit? Could this fragment from a distant star system have nudged our world from the path that has carried us faithfully around the sun for billions of years? The firm voice of physics says no, and it says so with unshakable clarity. Earth's orbit is bound by the gravity of the sun, held steady by the balances of momentum, resonance, and mass, shaped gently by Jupiter and Saturn, tuned by the familiar tug of our moon. Atlas, for all its strangeness, is small, a mountain of ice and dust at most, and its closest approach is far. 270 million kilometers, nearly twice the minimum Earth-Mars distance. 50 times farther than our moon. Its gravitational effect on Earth is less than the push of tides, less than the long arm of Jupiter, less even than the soft pressure of sunlight on the upper atmosphere. The orbit of Earth remains unchanged, the ellipse steady, the seasons assured, the year returning as it always has. And yet the question lingers, not because science is uncertain, but because imagination cannot let it go, for comets have never been only objects of ice and dust. To the ancients, they were swords of fire, omens of plague or war, portents of kings rising and empires falling. In China, they were tied to the fortunes of dynasties. In Babylon, they were listed as signs of conquest. In Europe, they filled chronicles as warnings of famine. Even in 1910, when Halley's Comet returned, newspapers filled pages with dread that cyanogen gas in its tail might poison the earth. Beneath superstition lies memory, for impacts have indeed altered worlds. They have scarred the moon, reshaped Mars, and 66 million years ago, a fragment from space ended the age of dinosaurs, changing Earth's climate, resetting the course of evolution. To ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that deep memory, even as the numbers comfort us. What unsettles us about Atlas is not impact but anomaly. Discovered on July 1st, 2025, by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, it revealed itself to be extraordinary almost immediately. Its path was hyperbolic, open-ended, proof of interstellar origin. It became only the third such confirmed visitor after Anomalies in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. But unlike them, it carries strangeness in both speed and chemistry. At perihelion on October 29th, it races at 130 miles per second, with a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second, faster than any interstellar object before it. Why such speed? Was it flung with violence from its home system cast out by giants? Or has it built momentum across eons of wandering? Or, whispers the speculative mind, could its velocity itself be deliberate, chosen, designed to intersect our solar system at this exact moment? Stranger still is its chemistry. On August 6th, the James Webb Space Telescope measured its coma and found it dominated by carbon dioxide, 81 times more than water vapor, a ratio never seen in cometary science. Most comets are driven by water ice, supplementing in sunlight to form familiar tails, while carbon dioxide plays only a supporting role. But Atlas breaks the script, venting CO in vast amounts, even far from the sun. Scientists propose explanations. Perhaps it formed in a CO-rich region of its protoplanetary disk. Perhaps cosmic rays altered its chemistry over billions of years. Perhaps dust mantles lock water away while allowing CO to escape. Each idea is plausible, none complete. And so speculation rises. Could the anomaly be intentional, chemistry as code, molecules arranged as message? Could Atlas be more than comet? Could it be probe or artifact, a machine disguised as ice? Its trajectory crafted to mimic natural orbits, its silence chosen, its signature designed to catch the eye of distant astronomers? If so, then perhaps Atlas has altered Earth's orbit after all, not in mechanics, but in meaning. Not in gravity, but in imagination, nudging us from certainty into wonder. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also conceptual, paths traced by thought around mysteries too vast to resolve, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Alma Mova bent us toward speculation of the artificial, Borisov bent us back toward the natural, Atlas bends us again into uncertainty, cometary yet anomalous, ordinary yet strange. Earth's path through space endures, but humanity's orbit around certainty shifts. This may be the true silent threat, not destruction, but revelation. Not collision, but disclosure. A reminder that the universe is alive with wanderers, each one a whisper from beyond, some ancient, some strange, some perhaps intentional. To live in their presence is to accept humility, to admit that our models are incomplete, that our certainty is fragile, that the cosmos is deeper than we know. Earth remains safe, its orbit unchanged, its path steady around the sun, but our imagination has been perturbed. Our certainty has been shifted, our trajectory of thought altered. And perhaps this is the answer to the question that lingers. Did 3I ATLAs alter Earth's orbit? In physics, no, the ellipse endures, the year unfolds, the balance remains. But in meaning, yes, for our orbit of certainty has been nudged. Our orbit of imagination shifted, our orbit of wonder curved into new paths. And as you drift into sleep tonight, let the numbers comfort you. Earth is safe, steady, unaltered. But let the silence of Atlas drift with you too, for in that silence lies its true gift. The quiet alteration not of orbit but of perspective. The reminder that while Earth's path is steady, our certainty is always waiting to be moved. Did 3IATLS just alter Earth's orbit? Science for sleep, the question, though already answered by celestial mechanics with calm certainty, still hovers in our thoughts like the faint glow of a comet's tail at the horizon of night. Could the arrival of 3I Atlas in 2025 have altered the orbit of Earth? Could this visitor from another star have disturbed the fragile balance that holds our world steady in its journey around the sun? The firm voice of physics replies no. Earth is bound by the overwhelming pull of the sun's gravity, locked into its orbit by momentum and resonance, steadied further by the presence of Jupiter, Saturn, and our own moon. Atlas, though remarkable, is too small, too distant, and too quick to change any of this. At its closest, it passes 270 million kilometers away, almost twice the distance between Earth and Mars at closest approach. 50 times farther than the moon. Its gravitational tug upon Earth is negligible. Smaller than the daily pull of tides, smaller than Jupiter's remote shepherding influence, smaller even than the constant pressure of sunlight against our atmosphere. Earth's ellipse remains what it has been for billions of years. The year unfolds unchanged. The seasons return in their cycle. And yet, though the science is clear, the question remains alive, because imagination cannot be bound as tightly as orbits can. For comets have always been more than frozen mountains in space. They have been omens, messengers, intrusions of the unpredictable into the ordered heavens. In Babylon, they were catalogued as portents of conquest. In China, they were tied to the fates of dynasties. In medieval Europe, they filled chronicles as fiery swords that warned of famine and plague. Even in 1910, when Halley's Comet appeared in the modern age of telescopes and science, newspapers fanned fear that gases in its tail might poison Earth's air. Beneath the superstition lies memory, the deep recognition that objects from the void have indeed changed worlds before. They have carved craters into moons, scarred planets. And 66 million years ago, a fragment ended the reign of dinosaurs, altering climate and redirecting evolution. To ask if Atlas could alter Earth's orbit is to echo that memory, even as the data assures us otherwise. But what makes Atlas unsettling is not its threat, but its strangeness. Discovered on July 1st, 2025, it immediately revealed itself to be extraordinary. Not bound to the sun, but on a hyperbolic path, proof of interstellar origin. Only the third such object ever seen after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. At perihelion on October 29th, it will streak past the sun at 130 miles per second, carrying a hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 kilometers per second. Faster than any interstellar object before it, nearly double Oumuamua's. Why so fast? Was it flung outward by the violent push of giant planets in its natal system, or did it gather speed across billions of years of wandering? Or could its speed itself be intentional, a velocity chosen to appear natural yet designed to bring it here now? Stranger still is its chemistry. When the James Webb Space Telescope examined it on August 6, it revealed a coma dominated by carbon dioxide, 81 times more than water vapor, a ratio unprecedented in cometary science. Most comets are driven by water ice, their tails expanding as they approach the sun, while carbon dioxide plays a minor role. But Atlas breaks this rule, venting CO in great volumes even when far from the sun, when most comets are quiet. Explanations are offered. Perhaps it formed in a CO-rich region of its natal disk. Perhaps billions of years of cosmic rays altered its chemistry, locking water away while freeing carbon dioxide. Perhaps dust mantles act as insulation, trapping water but letting CO escape. Each explanation is plausible, none are fully convincing, and so speculation begins. Could this be deliberate, chemistry chosen as code, molecules arranged as message? Could Atlas be more than comet? Could it be probe or artifact? Its trajectory crafted to mimic natural orbital mechanics, its silence chosen as the loudest signal of all? If so, then perhaps Atlas has indeed altered Earth's orbit. Not in stone and sea, but in thought and meaning, perturbing the path of imagination. For orbits are not only celestial, they are also conceptual patterns of thought circling the mass of the unknown, and each interstellar visitor perturbs them. Oumuamua bent us toward the possibility of the artificial. Borisov bent us back toward the comfort of the natural. And Atlas bends us once more into the uncertain middle. Cometary yet anomalous, ordinary yet strange. Earth's orbit through space remains steady, but humanity's orbit around certainty has shifted, curving toward humility, toward wonder, toward speculation. Perhaps this is the true silent threat, not impact or destruction, but revelation, the recognition that the universe is more alive, more complex, more purposeful than we have dared to imagine. As you drift into rest, let the numbers soothe you. Earth's path is secure, the year is steady, the ellipse unbroken. But let imagination accompany you too, for perhaps Atlas has already altered us. Not in physics, but in philosophy, not in gravity, but in meaning. And perhaps the orbit that matters most is not the one traced by our world around the sun, but the one traced by our thoughts around the mystery of the cosmos, forever waiting to be nudged into new paths.